Alright, I know Kosh is here. I don't know who else is here. You gotta tell me if this music's too loud. It's definitely weird to talk to yourself. I've tried streams in the past. It hasn't been too fruitful. So we'll see. We'll see what may come of this. Guys, we can look at anything you want. I am here for you. That's why we're doing this. I figured we'd do a little bit of how the sausage is made for the alt videos on Wednesdays. I'm also doing this because Market Power Hour is temporarily no more. For those of you who even know or care what that was, Crypto Jack has moved on to bigger and better things for the time being. If you were curious what those were, it was him, Bitcoin, Schmitcoin, and I talking about markets. We had a YouTube channel, Twitch, etc., etc. So Alex, yeah, okay, good. We're gonna look at that floor. I will do it. Don't tempt me. Anyway, so he had to move on for some IRL stuff, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point. We had some excitement here, right, with the ARK spot ETF. The funny thing about this ETF news, it's like we'll get like a futures ETF or a spot Bitcoin ETF application, and immediately the alt people are like, "Oh my God, ETH is coming," or "Jack did rug us," or they'll go, "Oh my God, Solana's the next one, guys. They're gonna apply for a Solana ETF." It's just funny how it just like rolls downhill constantly. Like we can't just be happy for something we don't even have yet. we we have to just assume that, oh yeah, everything else is gonna just fall into place perfectly. But yeah, we can look at NFTs. I don't care. I figured we'd just go through some of the charts. I have a few things pulled up already. And if you're not hearing the live stream, that's okay because it's recorded on YouTube. I personally prefer to watch YouTube videos than streams. That's why I just always lean towards doing videos over streams. But if people like this sort of thing, we can do it. It doesn't bother me. My whole like preoccupation has been crypto is dead, okay? Like price action wise. So what's actually going to move the market here? Things like, so here's the two like scales. It's like, is Binance going to actually blow up? That's the bad news, right? The black swan. The white swan is the ETF from BlackRock, right? Now they're not really black or white swans if we know that they're a possibility, but there's a lot of smoke on the Binance front. So personally, I would just stay away from Binance for a little bit. You got 10 other exchanges you can use easily. Just that's my 2 cents. I would get anything related to Binance. I would just get it off in the time being. NFA levels on alts, we can talk about that. Definitely we'll talk about Dixie. I hope you're not just getting left ear audio. It looks like on my stream it's okay. Yeah, we'll talk about S&P. Retail will come back, I promise you. Pre-2020, there was a very famous crypto hedge fund manager who at a conference said that retail was burned in 2017, 2018, whatever it was. Retail's never coming back. And then we had the biggest retail boom with GME, AMC, alts. It'll come back. It'll take years. We've got inflation to deal with. We've got people who can't pay for basic necessities. I think they're going to have a harder time gambling on shit coins, but that's just me. But they'll be back. I don't think they've been burned too many times. There'll always be more, just like there was post 2018, So yeah, the preoccupation has been we're generally inverse DXY, and DXY has been screaming. It's been so bullish. It's actually crazy. I mean, I can't find a single bearish thing about DXY. I really can't. This is the cloud. But even if you take off the cloud, you take off everything, right? Just look at the MAs. It is not unusual that we are death crossing on crypto. while we're bull crossing on golden crossing on DXY, right? That makes total sense if we're inverse. ETH has a death cross. BTC has a death cross within the next couple days. So until this quiets down, I just can't see crypto doing well, you know? I hope I'm wrong, but it's just really hard to think that we're gonna do well in the face of this. Is it left here? Oh, let me fix that. Let me check. Pro streamer guys, you gotta bear with me here. I swear the audio is fine for me. I wonder why. On OBS, it looks like it's okay. Might have to fix it after the stream. I don't want to mess with the settings and break everything. Alright, thanks, Miles. Yeah, I'll check it after, guys. Sorry. Everything was working the other day, so who knows. Anyway, I blame OBS, blame YouTube. Yeah, so I have a hard time thinking like crypto's going to do okay if the dollar's strong. I think Max Payne is dollar just takes off, you know. If we look at USD CAD, not USD CAD, where is it? What is it? USD CNY? That's not the right ticker. USD CNH, I forget the actual thing. It's at multi-year highs. And if you look at a lot of these currencies against the dollar, they are extremely bearish for the foreign currency. So I just think it's going to be hard for crypto to do well in the face of that. And so I would really watch for any bearishness on the DXY at all. There's also this idea that, okay, inflation is not over. Are we going to keep raising? Does higher for longer mean we're going to break all these foreign currencies in the meantime, right? I'll still do the altcoin video today too. Gospeg. Everybody's got these complex names, man. Why can't you just be like Black Falcon or something? Yeah, so DXY is super strong, and that's a big problem just overall. And the other issue is oil. Oil is extremely bullish. It doesn't matter that it's, you know, the cartel that's driving this higher, right? This chart it canceled the head and shoulders. It is screaming. They clearly want oil to go to 100, and that's going to be a problem for the inflation numbers, and then that's going to be a problem for the Fed. What are they going to do? Are they going to break employment? I think it's just a very difficult dance right now for the people who think we're going to get some sort of soft landing while energy is roofing. You know, it's just, again, from a technical perspective, it's super, super bullish. Not only does it have that, you know, micro canceled inverted head and shoulders, but it has this Adam and Eve thing too, that it basically hit the support again and looks ready to go. So Max Payne is probably dollar to 111, and oil somewhere between 90 and 100, right? And it'll be interesting what happens first. Does the DXY take off? Does oil take off? I think there's some historical importance if DXY and oil, yeah, exactly, Joe Rogan. If DXY and oil go up together, I can't remember the historical significance of that, but obviously not good. You know, we can't keep hiking forever. The economy's already ground to a halt for many people on the lower side of the socioeconomic spectrum, right? So it is rough on all fronts. So we've got that. We've got strong dollar. It's hard for me to see alts do well in the face of that, right? And then we've got the S&P and the Nasdaq, which to me look super, super heavy. the S&P stuff that everybody was bearish on at the beginning of the year, right? And if you know anything about stuff that I was watching throughout this year, we were talking about inverted head and shoulders for months, right? And this just goes to show you that it can look like dog water. It doesn't matter, right? Like the general idea was there the whole time that yes, this probably will act like some sort of bottom. Everybody was expecting a recession. Everybody sort of tightened their belt straps, bootstraps, whatever. Anyway, we went up. So now I'm seeing the exact opposite, right? I'm seeing some sort of rounded top. I'm seeing all sorts of reasons why this should pull back. And that's not even considering dollar strength or inflation or energy or any of that stuff. And so that's just another reason why I don't think crypto can't do well. We don't have the flows to do well on our own. So we're sort of, in the ocean floating on these massive waves and getting beaten around by what looks to be bearish S&P, bearish tech, bearish everything else, right? Bear div on the S&P monthly chart, probably. I mean, there's like, if you want to look at bear divs, NVIDIA's got a bear div working. The problem with this on the monthly, like there's no higher high here, so we can't quite call it a bear div, but I see what you're going for here. It's just a series of multi-year highs with lower momentum. So it's not technically wrong, but at the same time, it's like, how do you trade that? The problem with divs of this duration is just, it's very difficult to be perma-bearish the entire time, right? Because that doesn't help you. It doesn't help you make money. You might say, well, I'm not going to do X, Y, or Z because I know this rally is probably going to be softer, and maybe that helps you reduce leverage, take profit sooner, etc. But yeah, I don't see anything bullish about this chart at all right now. Again, I could be completely off base here, but the trend looks like it's ready to reverse through the cloud. Bearish TK cross is already active here. This head and shoulders I pointed out a couple days ago, probably not there. It's still got this stuff going on. It's not like the oil head and shoulders, right? The oil head and shoulders very clearly just said, see you later, alligator, and reversed. I mean, this is what you want to see on a reversal of a bearish pattern like that, right? So I don't think we're quite there yet for the S&P. Now that could change if there's some sort of, I don't know, stimmy promise or something. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, but and the tech stuff looks similar, right? The Qs to me look exactly the same as the S&P. I don't think there's anything that is bullish about this chart at all. I don't see it. I don't know. Somebody can let me know if that's the case, but this still looks super bearish to me. It looks like it wants a retest, and that'd be totally fine. People are going to melt down if it mean reverts to 339 or whatever. The same thing with S&P, right? It's just like, this is just mean reversion stuff. This isn't like anything crazy, So let Dixie be strong, let oil be strong, let this inflationary spiral happen, let everything mean revert, let crypto just puke itself. I don't even know. Crypto looks tragically awful. Again, it's so hard for me to be bullish on crypto stuff. When ETF, I don't know, Tommy. Probably next year, but I don't know, a lot of it's so political and so like, it seems as though it's one person who's holding it up, right? It's Gary at the top. So it's hard to know, like, when does that end? When does the politics take over to the other pendulum, right? When does it swing to the other direction? It's just very hard to be bullish on that in the near term. Can you explain to noobs why there's such a correlation between USD and crypto? Well, crypto is denominated in USD, so if your pair is bullish on the other side, right? Now the DXY is a index of the US dollar versus a basket of currencies, mainly the euro, mainly JPY, but it's generally a proxy for dollar strength. This also represents risk-off mentality. So you're getting paid to hold USD. You're getting paid more than you've been paid in 10 years to hold USD. If you look at the yields on treasuries right now, the 3-year, the 2-year, the 10-year, all that stuff is roofing. So that's helping as well. We're also, you may think like we're in this macro doomer spiral in the US, but globally we are definitely doing better off than most around the world. So that also helps dollar strength. And another thing you can look at historically is what happened in 2021 and 2022. Even if you don't buy into the fact that, okay, dollar strong, crypto bearish, I mean, just look how it's acted historically. Every time the dollar has been bullish, crypto's been bearish. Every time the dollar's been bearish, crypto's been extremely bullish. So there's some sort of like beta amplification or whatever you want to consider that as when the dollar is bullish or bearish, right? So at the end of the day, if the dollar's just flat, that's fine. Who cares, right? But we get the most juice on the upside if the dollar is bearish, certainly, historically. We can look at that relative to halving and say, okay, we got halving coming up. Who cares if the dollar is bullish now? Some people think the halvings are all priced in. We can't win these days, right? Bitcoin's going to die. It needs drive chains. Dollars or halving's priced in. Everything's bad. Whatever. Point is, we want the dollar to be bullish right now. We don't want it to be bullish post-halving, right? Post-halving is when we get all the good stuff. And with the oil side of things, if energy is more expensive, that generally pulls up the inflation picture. Over the past year, inflation has really come down thanks to a decline in oil prices, partially because of the SPR releases. So that's certainly part of the picture. And we've gotten big enough now on Bitcoin. It's in the zeitgeist, in the mindset of people where people are looking at it and trading it. It's undeniable. We're not having like massive flows here, but we're big enough to where we are correlating, I think, more now with risk on, risk off type mentality in either direction, right? There's also people talking about the VIX, which I'm not a VIX expert at all by any means. VIX is the volatility index. If you look at post-COVID, we spiked up to 82 something, right? Which is like historically, I think, one of the highest days ever. They did retool this equation. I forget when. I think maybe late after 2008. I don't remember when, but point is, you've got a lot of people expecting some sort of VIX breakout here, right? Again, this is like the macro doomer thesis, where we've got all commodities, roofing, cocoa, orange juice. There's a long list of stuff if you look for it. So everybody's expecting like some sort of market event, and they're expecting the VIX to just go berserk. And again, historically, when the VIX is elevated, crypto is going the opposite direction. So that's just another way to say crypto is definitely a risk-on asset. It trades like one. So if the mentality is risk-off, if things are melting down, I wouldn't expect crypto to do well in that environment. I don't know if the VIX is actually going to do anything here anytime soon. I don't care, but I know there's a lot of people who look at stuff like that. Thanks, Paperclip. Fernando, yeah, we're going live, baby. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. One thing I didn't do yesterday, if you guys caught the ETH video, or the how to buy the dip video, where to BTFD. I was going to go through the ETH levels because I thought those might be interesting. If people want to see that, we can look at that as well. But on the legacy front, I don't know what else to really pay attention to or care about other than like these 4 charts specifically, because they are so kind of bipolar, ready to rip. Oil already has ripped. It's just a question of how long can the dollar and oil rip higher. And again, we're pre-halving. It's September. You know, people hate the seasonality argument, but September is not a good month, people. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I've been here since 2013. Like, September has never been, ever, a good month. Maybe 2012, 2013 was a good month, but not not recently, not in the past 6 years, right? So just let it be bearish. DCA, that's what I've been doing. Let it happen, right? All right, let's look at some crypto stuff. I guess we can. I have this legacy list. Let me just pull that up and look at that real quick, because I know people are interested in like the Magnificent Seven or whatever the hell they're calling it now. And even all this stuff, look at Apple today. Oof. And, you know, because these are such a high percentage of the indices, the more that these ripped lower, the more of an effect that's going to have on the Nasdaq and the Qs and whatever else. So the cloud is telling you in, August 4th to get the hell out of Apple, and it really hasn't told you to get back in. We haven't had a bullish TK cross on Apple yet. But look at that channel. I mean, this is what you want to see. Perfect trend. Beautiful, bold, extravagant. Okay, it's above the Tenkin the entire time. This is like textbook. Perfect, right? And people have argued that, well, you've got every Friday or every other Friday, you've got people, you know, buying with their 401k and whatever else. That's true, but where are they now, right? They're still buying with their 401k. It's just, you know, the market's being the market. Everything else, again, none of this looks particularly bullish. Somebody was asking me about Tesla. It's in the cloud. It's trying to regather strength. I just don't think it will. I think the better trade here is to just wait. The cleaner trade is always to wait for, like in May, March. Just wait for everything to flip bearish and then everything to flip bullish again, right? Now that may take some time. That may take a bunch of time. But that's the cleaner trade. Like BTC right now, you know, just let everything be bearish. Like, don't try to force anything silly. Meta, kind of the same thing. You know, none of this stuff is screaming anything in particular. Netflix tried to pull an oil. It's trying to cancel this Head and Shoulders. Hasbro was like my own personal dark horse. Excuse me. It doing quite well after that breakout. Google, you know, none of this stuff looks great. Is that an all-time high for Google? It might be. I know I'm like flipping around like a maniac. No, not an all-time high. But immediately, like, you know, I'm looking for divs. I'm looking for rising wedges. I just can't get bullish tech when it looks like this, right? And that's just basic TA stuff. Will this go higher? Maybe, but it will do it without me, because you got a bear div, you got a rising wedge, we got a div on volume as well. There's just nothing here that tells me that I should be buying this. But hey, I could be wrong. Lastly, let me just look at NVIDIA. Another thing I talked about, I can't remember when, but when you get these trends, these long extended trends, you'll tend to see RSI kind of arcing. We saw that in Bitcoin in 2021. Towards the end of the trend, you get this momentum weakness, and the div just essentially gets too big to overcome, right? You're getting just a continuous bearish divergence, maybe for months. But again, to me, that's saying, look, I wouldn't expect miracles up here, right? You know, and then it's you versus the world trying to short this thing, but I wouldn't try to be a hero, but I'm not buying up here. I mean, look at this thing. Anyway. All right, let's talk about crypto. Should we talk about Bitcoin a little bit? Sad Bitcoin. I think I said 25.3 was like the fractal level. This is Kraken Pro, but if we just turn on Alligator Fractal, we go to candles. Those fractals are like impossibly tiny to see. I don't know if I can make those bigger. I don't think I can on Kraken. Anyway, if you want to be short, you want to see price lose 25.3. For the bears, it's really good news that, again, we have a death cross in a couple days or tomorrow. We've retraced the entirety of the Grayscale stuff. It's good news for the bears if Binance blows up. Like, let's be honest. You know, if you want to bet on that, now's the time. There's nothing particularly exciting about this in any way, shape, or form, right? There's no like pattern here. I don't know. I don't see anything that's suggesting a magical reversal just yet. And all the trend metrics are bearish. We have the cloud, obviously, all seeing, perfect, the best indicator. Why would you use anything else? The cloud's amazing, right? It told you mid-August, like, hey, trader, be careful. And that was it. That's all she wrote. You don't always get this crazy move like that, but it said be careful at the very least. Anyway, so we're below the cloud. Everything's bearish. And this is a good thing if you're bullish at the end of the day, right? It's no like wishy-washy, will she, won't she type stuff. Because that's your level. You know, if we're above 28.3, then we're good to go. But we're not there yet. So we're not going to magically get bullish. Here's the weekly cloud. Wonder why they changed the weekly stuff or the day stuff to hours. That's so bizarre. I've never seen that before. Yeah, the weekly cloud. We were kind of inside of it and then just couldn't stay there. I don't even think this is right. I think something's glitching on the Kraken side. But anyway, we're still out of the cloud. I don't think there's any rush. I still like 42 eventually, but we're not there yet. Oh, Miles, by the way, thanks for that heads up on the ad stuff. Like I said in the comment, I don't ever see the ads, and that's like on me for not checking. But I'll just shut off the monetization and we'll see what happens. I always thought like you needed the monetization to stay in the algorithm. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Let's see. Thanks for coming, everybody. I just thought it was gonna be mean to like myself talking to myself, but hey. 33K by end of the year, yes. Miners versus WGMI. Talk about that. DCA until 2025. I think obviously the best time to DCA is on the way down, but I like buying strength personally. I would much rather buy strength than guess where, like, pick a market. I don't know, pick like Link, for example. Let's go to Link on the daily. I would much rather buy strength versus a chart that looks like this, or a chart that is just going to zero, right? If you're going to deploy capital or allocate money into something, I want to see it work. I don't want to see it just flounder or lose me money, right? So especially now when you can get paid to hold cash, you can get paid 5% plus to hold cash. So that to me is clearly the move. And just set alerts for everything. You know, you don't have to go crazy with deploying everything everywhere. Not financial advice, by the way. Everything's not financial advice, in case any lawyers show up. The Link levels, I like 850 or whatever this is a lot, but we're not there yet, right? And, you know, you might think Link has some sort of fundamental argument. I don't really care about any of that stuff. Just why? Why are we putting money here, right? Like, it's been sideways for a year plus. Let it go sideways for another year and then figure it out. I don't see this like rush to get into anything. The move's not gonna, you know, go without you. Okay, there's just nobody here right now. Cloud King live. That's right, Paul. Cloud King is live. TKD. Oh yeah, I talked about the TKD yesterday. I don't think I have it on here. I gotta find it. Sorry, guys. Let me close that. Let me just re-add it. go to ETH. Let's do the ETH exercise for levels. I saw one of the news outlets argue that ETH has a better upside because of the futures stuff potentially coming through on the ETF side of things. I don't know, man. I mean, look at this chart. This chart looks tragically bad. All right, so let's go to candles. The TKD thing recolors the candles, which isn't terrible, but not what we need in the moment. All right, so for ETH, you know, we got these extreme lows, right? Now I don't want it to go to 1,000, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised. So we've hit the first one, right? There's that. The next one down is basically 1350. If you want to maybe say, well, we're still within, you know, Ledger says, well, we're still in it, baby. I guess we better figure it out soon here because we don't have a lot of time, you know? And again, ETH, really not important to me until it's above 2,000. If we get above 2,000, we can talk. And maybe the miracle does happen, right? Dreams do come true and something like that. I just, again, who's here? You know, who's gonna buy ETH? Look at this volume. Everybody's, you know, staking it and thinking they're gonna get rich forever. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah. So right now it's on this diagonal support, right? And sometimes people ask me like, why do you add 2 lines or 3 lines or whatever I do? A lot of the times the wicks on crypto stuff, especially now when we're so illiquid and there's just not a lot in the book, like this stuff can just whip down, and it may look like it destroys a level, but in reality, like, oh, there's a history of activity in an area rather than a specific level. Okay, I think that also helps you just set limit orders better personally. You know, if I'm looking for like triggers on a short, I'm looking for entries like in this zone or just below it, whatever. Anyway, so we wicked into that level, but we better turn this bus around soon, or that's done. And the determining factor is going to be the volume. You know, that's the big question. Up or down, we need volume to make the decision because price is just gonna flop around like a fish. It doesn't know what to do here. So if we're looking for support levels, we've got the diagonals, great. We've got the horizontals, great. Now if we bust down to 1350, then at that point we're going to be talking about a channel. This is something that Jack talked about. At that point, we're going to be saying, you know, the ascending triangle dream is over, and we're going to be talking about potentially that $1,000 zone. Again, I think that's where everybody's going to be looking. Another thing we can use here is fibs to the downside. If we take this low, this high, and again we get similar stuff, and I bet VPVR is going to tell you the same. VPVR is volume at price of the visible range. So this will change, you know, if I zoom way out, this will change a lot. But if I just care about what's happened in the past year or two, it'll change and shift, right? So yeah, you know, I like 11 to 13 if we get real bearish, which again, dollar strong, oil strong, inflation is picking up, potentially S&P puking, tech puking, Binance could explode. Like, I think it's a possibility. I think that level down there is a possibility for sure. So that's like the preparation, you know, where would we want this to go if we were truly bearish? Like, we don't want to just, I'm the worst at like trying to find where this stuff is. We don't want just like this kind of sort of move to the bottom. Like, we want a real deal. Like, this is definitive, right? So I would want to see something in that zone. Let's just move this up. Something way down there. The other part of this is like, do we have enough OI, open interest, on anything to even care to sell it to that level? I don't know. I don't know. That's why the volume is so important. You know, we need somebody to come in and say, okay, like, let's sell this thing off, like it's over. We just haven't seen that yet. The other thing about VPVR, this green line is my, what do they call it? Yeah, point of control. That's the highest volume level. So again, that's generally, in this case, seen as a support level potentially. So for ETH, if we get bearish, 100% I'm expecting it. Bare minimum to go to 1350, but realistically, a wick to 12, certainly possible. Certainly possible. G1 West, he's more bearish than me. He wants 4 to 600. I don't know about that. 4 to 600. Now, I think at 1,000, we are going to see people unstaking, and that's the next thing to watch for capitulation. People are still staking ETH, so that would be the next thing. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but watch the staked ETH stuff, because then we'll see people might, find religion and decide, staking ETH at 4% where we're losing 10% a day is probably not a good idea. Just something to look forward to. Thoughts on buying alts for the next bull with ETH, BTC, or dollars? I will talk about that in a second. One way to look at that, I guess we can just look at this. If we look at the market cap of everything in the universe minus stables, minus Tether, minus USDC, I took wrapped BTC out of the equation as well. If we look at all of that, for me to buy alts, I would have to see this thing turn around. I do not see this being bullish in any regard. Benjamin Cowan talks a lot about this on his YouTube. He's great. He does a lot of data-driven stuff. Who's here buying alts right now? I would need this metric above 280. I think this is, billion, right? In order for me to get excited about alts again. If I measured this with fibs, like it gets pretty ugly. We're talking basically a full retrace to the beginning, which isn't like crazy, I don't think, if we're talking about actual real deal, like full blown capitulation, something down there, market cap wise, I don't think it's super crazy. Exactly, Maskey, like stablecoin summer, bro. Solana has stablecoins now. Like, Base has USDC. Who cares? Who's here to care about that stuff? Look at the price reaction. I'm happy it'll eventually turn around, maybe, but who cares? I don't know. Like, are we happy and excited that USDC is on any of that stuff right now? That we don't have any flows. Again, people can't buy basic necessities because inflation is so out of control. They're deciding to go to Dollar General instead of the grocery store, right? So it'll eventually matter, maybe, but I don't see how it's going to turn things around right now. And we can look at the, if I can find it, we can look at the, I have so many charts everywhere. We can look at the, here it is, the USDC and USDT circulating supplies, okay? Here's another proxy for, do people care? Are people sending money to stablecoins? And not yet, right? This may matter eventually, but we're not seeing people get excited about any of that stuff. Admittedly, it just happened yesterday, but until this stuff turns around, who's here? Who's buying stuff? Yeah, the PayPal dollar is even worse. I don't even know if do they have that? What is it called again? It's like PY something? I forget. It's a terrible ticker. TradingView might not have it yet, but no one's really using that. I just saw a story from the block the other day on that. I don't think anybody's really using that either. So who's here? Who's sending money? I mean, people are afraid to send money because they might get debanked, right? Like, this is not a time to be bullish anything. MetaMask just added a sell button, for Christ's sake. Like, come on. of all the times they had a sell button, you know, now is not that time if you want people to stay at the casino, essentially. PYUSD, thank you, Andrew. I don't know if they have it yet. Let's look. So Kraken has a pair. Let's see if... No, I don't think. To pull up the market caps, it's crypto cap, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where that actually pulls from, but... Trading view. No, it doesn't look like there's anything. Yeah, okay. I'd have to check it somewhere else, but... Now I done screwed up everything. Anyway. Yeah, look, we're setting the groundwork. We're building the foundation for something to happen when things turn around, right? When things turn around, people are going to be able to get dollars in 1,000 different ways. That's great. The problem is right now, I just don't see people throwing money at this stuff, right? Once the USDC circulating supply turns around, then things might be different, right? We're just not seeing that yet. Look how hard Jeremy Allaire on Twitter, the CEO of Circle, I think he's the CEO. Look how hard he's pushing like every little headline, okay? Like they're desperate for something. It's just not, it hasn't turned it around yet. We're just not seeing that. Even Tether, the growth in the circulating supply has slowed down. So that's just another metric to watch. I'd watch this. I'd watch market caps. Right? I just lost it. I don't know. It's in here somewhere. Here it is. I'd watch stablecoin supplies. I'd watch market caps. I'd watch for some massive redemptions that come through on USDC. Like, you want to talk about capitulation? That's another thing to watch for. We can talk about dominance, which is still, to me, favoring Bitcoin. It still looks like it's Bitcoin summer and not shitcoin summer. So all this stuff still looks on the right side for Bitcoin and not for alts, not yet. Maybe that day for alts will come when we have 35 ETFs and you can get whatever you want through a brokerage and you never have to touch crypto in your life. And people forget what MetaMask is and they'll use PayPal. But we're not there yet, right? We're not there yet. What else do I have on here? Yeah, we can talk about alts relative to BTC or alts relative to ETH. And honestly, this is one way to actually make money in a bear market, is to trade these like odd pairs. Now, this isn't an odd pair by any means. This is a well-known pair, but I mean, like, taking Aave versus Curve or something like that. On the ETH BTC stuff, I still don't see how this in the moment is bullish for ETH based on technicals. On the weekly, it's still neutral at best, still in the bearish channel, it's still in the cloud. I just don't know. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't see ETH strength on the horizon just yet. Above 07, above 08, then we can talk. Then we can get the party started. In the moment, I just don't see a big reason to pile into ETH over BTC. And we can look at, which chart do I have that on? Probably this one. One thing I pulled up earlier was AVAX. This thing looks something, let me tell you what. When things are already bearish and you're canceling bullish reversals and you are just bleeding lower, there's no one going to rescue you. There's no lifesaver here, right? Everybody knows where this is probably going, and it's certainly not higher. Happy to be wrong, but this is an issue. for AVAX. And one thing you can do, talking about odd pairs, I don't even know, is there even a Sol AVAX pair? If there's not a pair, you can actually make it on TradingView. So you go Sol USD divided by AVAX. One thing you can do when you're like trying to figure out, you know, should I buy this or this? Just pull up the pair, right? I don't have any strong feelings about it, one way or the other. Looks more bullish than bearish, but yeah. But anyway, this is one thing you can do, right? You can look at odd pairs and you can say, okay, what looks better to you, you know? Sol certainly is having a bit of a narrative moment. I don't think it's having any necessarily price moment. Everybody wants Sol to go up, and that's why it's not, you know, there's too many people who are obsessed with this thing. Trying to find the cloud. Too many indicators on the left here. First world problem. I know. The Sol chart, like, again, what on here is bullish to anybody? Do we even have a 5200 cross? Okay, it's ready to cross bearish on the daily. It's just, if it looks noisy on the daily, I just go to the 2-day. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just don't see it. You know? 70% of it's staked, I think. There's just so much hype for nothing. People want to wheel this thing higher. It's just, price-wise, it does not look like it wants to go higher. GOSP. Let me look at INJ, buddy. I know you've asked me a few times in a few different places, so let's take a look. This is like injective or something. Clearly I've talked about it before. Got some markings on here. I mean, this looks like BTC in 2021, right? You've got the M double top, you've got price moving into the cloud. You basically lost your bullish momentum on higher time frames. You know, neutral. I don't expect anything crazy from this in the near term. Had some sort of bear div, it looks like I marked up. Yeah, so it looks like it tried to make a higher high, didn't quite. Yeah, you know it's a bear market when I'm doing a live stream. The best time to do a live stream, honestly. Nobody's here. See, I don't have any strong feelings about this one way or the other. Against BTC, you could argue, you know, maybe some sort of flag thing to watch here. I don't hate it. Don't hate it. But if it's on Binance, watch out. If that house of cards goes down, be careful with that. One thing I was thinking before the stream started, like, let's assume Binance goes down. What are people going to do? I assume everything's going to puke lower. Like, everything's just going to be, you know, it's going to be like a nuclear bomb went off. Yeah, boogers, the last live stream was 4 years ago. Like I said, I don't know if you're here, but I said like I don't like doing live streams because I don't like watching live streams. I like to watch like the recording or watch a YouTube video because I can watch it on 2x. There isn't like awkward silence and pauses and stuff. Anyway, if Binance explodes, which isn't a guarantee, but you know, we're just trying to think about downside protection here. Are people going to buy coin? Are they going to sell coin? So at first I assume everything's going to explode. Then what are they going to do, right? Are they going to buy DEX tokens? I don't know. Is everything just going to go to zero? Something to think about. When, if and when that happens. No guarantee, right? But to try to like game it out. Okay, is that going to be good for anybody? Probably not. What's going to happen after the fact, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, Sage, yeah. if Binance goes down, it's like the U.S. recession, right? Everybody's so sure, the most well telegraphed recession ever, and it just hasn't happened. But yeah, I don't know. I was trying to like game that out in my head. Like, would anything do well initially? I don't think so. One thing that could happen is people like try to leave the exits through the crypto side. So we might see like a spike for those of you who weren't here in 2018 on Bitfinex. What you may see is some sort of weird spike in price on alts in general or BTC. Why can I never find anything in TradingView? It's the worst. This right here. So people were pretty sure that Tether was in trouble, so they were exiting through Bitcoin. So that's why there was this massive spike on the Bitcoin price that day in 2018. Something could happen like that with Tether, but they already don't have banking. I don't even think they really have stablecoins per se. I don't know. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, hopefully, but we're just trying to game it out. What happened with ETH on that day, I wonder? Was it this candle? So, again, you got a little move. Another way to think about this is like, okay, if you're on an index or you're trading using an index and Binance is in that index, sure, it might be bearish, but again, be careful because that may go against you kind of counterintuitively if people are leaving Binance via crypto, right? I guess the ultimate nail in the coffin would be BNB. Let's look at BNB. BNB just hanging on by a thread. The higher time frames for BNB, again, like, is anybody bullish on this? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but you know, again, let's draw our levels. We'll say here, we'll say there, we'll say, okay, there's a diagonal, whatever. It's just a long drop if this thing gets angry. It's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's how Bitcoin gets to 23 or 20 or whatever, you know. Binance, again, I don't want Binance to blow up, okay? Historically, they have been net sellers of crypto as an exchange. That's where all the like darknet market money goes. That's where a lot of the overseas money goes to sell crypto. So the news will be bad, yes, initially. It may pave the way for an ETF because that's one of the things on the list. You know, market manipulation. They're looking at Binance specifically when they say that. So keep that in mind. Long term, you know, it's not over long term. Maybe not the way we wrote it up on the crypto side of things, but just got to plan out for that. Certainly, I wouldn't keep any money on Binance, but that's just me. I don't want to doom them into existence or into a death, but there's just been a lot of smoke on Binance for many years, and they have the reserves seemingly, but the question is, do they have enough reserves to cover all their liabilities? You know, do they have an asset liability mismatch if there's some sort of mass withdrawal? I don't know. All right, what else have we talked about here? ETH, we talked about pre-COVID prices. Man, West, I thought I was bearish. G1 West is the biggest bear I've seen in a long time. He wants us to go straight to zero. New crypto narratives, I don't think so. The biggest things lately has been all this stablecoin junk, which nobody cares about, let's be honest. Not yet, anyway. Paul talking about uranium. I mean, yeah, that's part of the commodity picture, right? I don't have a good ticker for that. Is there like a uranium ETF? I don't even know. Physical uranium trust. Not a lot of data there. I think Jack was looking at the UUU. Yeah, like the uranium chart doesn't look terrible, right? It doesn't look terrible. Sorry, I'm just reading. Is there anything on Kraken that we can look at that's like actually looks decent? I don't think so. I mean, we could just go through the list, I guess. Just take a gander here. Probably not bullish when Tether is the highest volume on the exchange. You know, I've seen that a couple times. Not great for crypto when you see stablecoin pairs ahead of crypto pairs. Looked at ETH, we looked at BTC, looked at Sol. I mean, I guess we can look at Ripple for the poor souls that trade it. Yeah, Nicholas, Q4, buddy. That's what I'm waiting for. Q4. So I had said on Ripple, you know, it had, much like GME, right? Say what you want about technical analysis, but pre-insane squeeze, GME had a year of nothing, right? That's why Link, you know, again, like we're talking about market timing. We're saying like people are terrible at it. People can't trade. Nobody's ever going to make money. Okay, sure. But, you know, at the end of the day, the charts that go up most of the time are charts that have done nothing for a very long time. Link, prime example. I have zero doubts in my mind that one day Link is going to rip faces. I just don't know when. I assume it's going to break out, kind of reconsolidate up here, and then make a move. Call it Wyckoffean, call it whatever you want. I don't care. Ripple, same thing, right? Pre-announcement of that ruling, it already had some sort of bullish bias going for it. It had this ascending triangle, and it broke out. That move is done. I mean, if you're still in Ripple hoping for a miracle, what is your narrative? I don't know. The week after the announcement, I saw this CBDC narrative pop up. Like, that disappeared, but I don't know. I don't know why you'd buy or trade Ripple, personally. I have no idea. Long term, I don't know the thesis there. I have no idea. Yada, I looked at SPX at the beginning. If you check the stream recording, you can look at it. I talked a lot about it. I do have a Discord, but it's just me at the moment. I'm kind of shy. I don't have a public Discord yet. What does 33K in July mean? Oh man. Should we bounce around? We'll do it. We'll do it just this once. Back in the day. You're gonna tell your grandchildren this story. Back in the day, there was this trend channel. Again, I can't find this stuff. I'm so bad. Riveting stuff. Back in the day, there was this Pitchfork. I think it was that. I could be wrong. With the replay function, this button at the top, you can delete price history effectively and go back in time. I think it was this Pitchfork. I think so. So in 2018, we had this trend channel, and no, that can't be it. We had some sort of Pitchfork somewhere that was pointing to 33K, the price in July. And that's how all that started. And for some reason, that narrative was very popular at the time. I kind of forced it a little bit, I will admit. Anyway, there was some sort of trend channel. I can't remember exactly which points were, but in any event, we were watching this 33K by July print. It didn't happen, obviously. We went lower, and it abysmally failed. But what I had said at that time is if we break through the trend channel, then we're probably not going to hit 33K by July. um, yeah, so yeah, it never happened, but that's where 33K by July comes from. Speaking of pitchforks, I forgot to talk about this one on ETH. The downside on this is like 1200, like that's the max support. Pitchforks are just trend channels. Pick 3 points, you get a rate of change, you get some levels, you get some diagonals. You can add levels, you can subtract levels. Price wants to go to the midline most of the time. You know we're super bullish if we're on the top of this bullish pitchfork, if we're on the bullish half. Obviously we're not on the bullish half of the pitchfork here for ETH, but ETH has been in this arguably for a good long while. Depending how you want to draw this, you know, you can always use this point instead. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Point is, just as this was extreme overbought territory, this may represent oversold territory, but that's a lot of hopium for sure. I know people, I don't know why people hate pitchforks. They're just trend channels. Okay, I don't know. All right, Doge, I guess. Again, like guys, who's buying this stuff? Someone already asked me if retail's here. I don't think so. I think retail's gone for a good long while. I just don't see this as some sort of magically bullish scenario. If we look at the OG Doge BTC on Poloniex, wrong one. By the way, how's Gemini doing? How are they still in business? I feel like they are hurting. They are hurting for people on there. You know, we think volumes are bad everywhere, but on Gemini, volumes must be absolutely atrocious. So here's a Doge BTC chart. Historically, it just ping-ponged between basically 0 and 100 sats. And it broke out of that, obviously. I think the baseline assumption is that this will eventually revisit the 100 sat level. You know, the alternative, the white swan, is the Elon adds payments to X, and we get Doge, and Doge goes to 1 million, guys. It's like this insidious, like, event to keep people on the hook. Like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. Let's keep accumulating. Meanwhile, it just keeps going lower. Admittedly, it's done okay for a couple of weeks, but you know, I don't want to. Me personally, I don't want to pay attention to this thing until it's way down, sub 30 sats. If I turn on the actual thing, yeah. So it's like 25 to 30. I mean, you can see. I don't know if you can see that, but I have an alert set on that level at 22 sats for that specific reason. It's just funny. All right, what else we got? We got Doge, people looking at Matic. Again, like, none of this stuff looks good. I'm sorry. And that's okay, but you just have to zoom out so far to try to figure out, like, where could this go, you know? Matic against BTC on Binance also looks scary. It's Halloween. Halloween's coming up. If this doesn't hold as a support on the bottom, gotta assume it's going to the next consolidation level, you know, down here. It's a scary one. BTC against the money supply. Yeah, Dylan does really good charts on that. I don't know the actual ticker he uses. Let me try to pull that up real quick. Basically, the argument is if the money supply is declining, historically we haven't done well, and I guess you could argue Bitcoin has only been bullish because of expanding money supply. Let me try to find his chart real quick. I mean, you can't disagree with that, right? We get expansion in liquidity, and we get expansion in the Bitcoin price. Now there's a way, is that what he's using? The tickers aren't on here, so I'm not sure. Global M2. So yeah, I mean, the argument is we see a rise in M2, a change in M2 year over year. We see bullish crypto. I mean, it happened in 2016, 2017, 2021, obviously with the massive money printing. Even hell, back to 2014, you can see it. And it would only make sense that as the M2 quiets down, as we go flat on the year over year change, price just hasn't gone anywhere, right? The same thing for alts. I mean, look at the alt MCAP relative to M2, and it'll probably correlate even more. So again, just another reason not to be bullish right now, unfortunately, on pretty much anything. LTC. Do you guys know that LTC had a halving the other day? Can somebody point to me on the chart where LTC had its halving? Because I can't. Absolutely just brutal. Absolute brutality for Litecoin. It's funny because all these non-majors, if you don't want to consider LTC a major, like they work great to send crypto. Like Jack has said previously that if he wants to send somebody crypto, he uses Litecoin. It's just kind of funny that Litecoin isn't like a buy and hold. It's just like just a medium exchange. It's basically kind of like a stablecoin. We talked about Link. ADA. Again, guys, like, I don't know. I don't know why these charts are so funky for me. Show me on the chart. Point to it where it's bullish. I don't see it on any of these, you know? DOT has a failed head and shoulders as well, inverted head and shoulders, just like AVAX. Another thing to pay attention to, like all these layer ones, if they're all trading together and one of them magically reverses before the other one, you know, it's generally a pretty good bet that eventually that'll catch up. So if these are in lockstep on the way down and one of them reverses before the other one and you miss that, one way to like pre-rotate into a winner would be that something like that. Watch for AVAX versus DOT. Monero. Also sad, unexciting, uninspiring. Just, you know, what is here? What is here to be excited about? I don't see anything. For me, it's not for me. You know, I can see where it's for some people. It's just not for me. Is there even anything else on this list? I mean, look how far down AVAX is on the volume. Oof. I remember Near used to be sort of an exciting blockchain. Just all this stuff just looks like it's ready for lows. I mean, I wish I had different news, but I just don't, you know. Like I kind of talked about in that one video, the Bitwise 10 ticker has a bunch of alts in it, and it has BTC and ETH, and it has a huge discount. So you know, that's an option, right? If you don't want to trade this stuff on some place like Kraken. All right, anything else before we wrap it up? We're going for an hour. It's probably good. People are probably sick of listening to me. Start petition for Cloud Enthusiast Discord. Yeah, William, I have the Discord. Like I said, it's all set up. I just haven't opened it to the public yet because I have to figure out what I want to do with it. You know, who's gonna manage it? Do I want to be just available 24/7? Yoda. So I didn't generate that econometrics chart. He did. But what I did, what anybody can do on TradingView, I think this requires an account with TradingView, but in the drop down at the top here, if you go to export chart data, you can pull all the price data on any time frame you want. So that's where I get all of my price data from, and that's where I generated this thing to look at, you know, worst performance per day or whatever, and the forward performance. So if you ever want price history, TradingView is always a place you can get that. Another place you can get that is Yahoo Finance. Now you need to know a little bit about Excel to like figure it out, but you can get there. LTC is how I escaped Voyager and FTX. Yeah, I mean, see, LTC is good for something. LTC is good for something. So yeah, if you're not following Ecoinometrics, he put out amazing charts. What's up, Mike? Also look very different from the drawn out bottom we saw in 2019. Different in a bearish way? I think they look different in a bearish way to me. They had a shot, right? All these alts, all these layer ones had a shot at making a bullish reversal. It just hasn't happened. Just not enough juice. Joe wants me to look at, let me find a clean chart here. Let's look at WGMI. Why not? So, as some of you may know, WGMI is a basket of miners managed by Valkyrie, my old employer. So it's a bunch of miners, mostly like Riot, Mara, CleanSpark. You can go to their website and see the full allocation breakdown. I always start with the cloud. Let's go with legacy cloud doubled, default doubled, below the cloud. Certainly not bullish, but you know, you wouldn't really expect it to be. Everything else is kind of bearish. We did get a full retrace to this kind of breakout level. I don't know, miners are tough because hash rate has been increasing. I know it just recently decreased a little bit. Difficulty had a downward adjustment. Miners are difficult because nobody really knows, like the people with the money, the institutional side, they don't really know what the miners do. They don't understand the miners, clearly. They haven't for years, and they certainly didn't leading up to this. This was actually the best performing ETF of the year at one point. I don't know if it still is, but it was up 380%. That's not year to date, but almost year to date. It went absolutely wild. It did really well, right? Generally, things that are down bad do okay the next year. There's no guarantee that they do amazing, but anyway. Trend-wise below the cloud, you'd want to see this, you know, back above 1380 to be bullish. I don't see any patterns or anything here. Maybe you're watching for some sort of bull div on the bottom side. What does VPPR look like down here? It's tough because they got halving coming up. Yes, they're cranking out ASICs and churning out all sorts of stuff globally, even in the US and Texas, right? They have all this, these new industrial miners that they're setting up. They're doing curtailment in Texas. They're making money kind of regardless, agnostic of Bitcoin, by shutting off and getting paid to do so. You know, it's just tough to buy it here. It's just in a weird spot. You could argue like sub 10 is a good DCA level. So it's tough because it's kind of like binary for the miners. They're either super bullish or super bearish. And right now they're just kind of bearish. We can look at, what else did you say? CleanSpark and Mara. So that's the basket, right? That's a bunch of miners together. Individually, I was saying like a couple weeks ago now that if we break down the fundamentals of all the miners and we look at the hash rate versus the market cap, and I know that's like, you know, as 80 IQ as it gets, but CleanSpark, the disparity there didn't really make sense to me. They had a lot of hash rate that on the market cap side you weren't seeing, and that was before you got this high. That's all retraced now, so it doesn't really matter, but that'd be like, similar to alts, something you can look at comparing these miners is like, okay, Riot and Mara have XYZ fundamentals, and this website, the Miner Mag, excuse me, Miner Mag data, minermag.com/data. They have the best data on the miners as businesses if you want to dig into that sort of thing. Because I was trying to figure out, like, why is CleanSpark like such a low market cap relative to everything else? Another like key metric they have here is cost of production, and they break that down in a couple different ways. But miners at the higher end are kind of underwater, right? Break even wise. There's like 5 people that know what I'm talking about probably, but anyway, there's tons of data if you want to look at the miners here beyond just, my ADIQ analysis with all the business side, debt to hash ratio. I don't know, they just have the best data, and it's updated all the time. So definitely check them out if you're interested in the mining side. I haven't seen better data than this. Now, yes, it's all public, but you sort of have to do it yourself if you want to bring it all together. And it's free, so that's one place to look at it. So CleanSpark, doesn't look bullish. I don't know. Everything kind of looks gross. Mara also just kind of wishy-washy. Nothing super special. I don't know. It's just ranging, right? I don't have anything specific to say about it. You could say, well, this is the range. I want to buy it like down here if I want a DCA. Another thing about these miners, I forget which ones were SPACs and which ones weren't, and which ones were, it's basically like a reverse merger or something. So you can't always look at like all the price history. You sort of have to know, when did they go public? When did they absorb the ticker effectively? I don't think Marathon was in business in 2012, but I could be wrong. So yeah, chart doesn't look terrible. It just doesn't look inspired. Doesn't look exciting. Doesn't look like it's for me personally. But hey. Yeah, Mike, we looked at legacy stuff in the beginning. The stream will be up on YouTube if it's not already, the recording, so you can look at it from there. What is the lowest bid I have? What are you gonna do? Price is right me and go $1 higher? Yoda's trying to front run my alpha, bro. Let my alpha be alpha, bro. I was saying, we were talking about, I'll just talk about this and we'll end it, but I have too many charts, sorry. I lost it, it's gone. Was it here? That was funny. Where'd I put it? Maybe it was over here. For ETH, I like 12 to 1300 if things get bearish, or if you just want to put a bid somewhere and forget about it for the moment, some sort of stink bid, as it's called. Like, if you want a real stink bid, 999, baby. 998, 990, some 3-digit like crazy wick where you hope liquidity is bad, you hope the book sells off, you hope the book just empties, and you get your crazy wick like we did in June. It's hard because you're getting paid so much to sit in cash to put in lower bids and be serious about it right now. Like, it's kind of silly because things are bearish, but I don't think they're like, we're going to go to sub 1,000 tomorrow bearish, right? So you kind of have to thread that needle where, unless you're on an exchange that is paying you in cash regardless, to do that. But that's always in the back of my mind too, is like, okay, do I put the cash on the exchange in a bid, or do I just sit in cash because who cares, right? So that's one thing to consider. And I think a lot of people are sort of thinking that way, you know, like I'm getting paid to just sit in cash and do nothing. Like who cares, right? Yeah, they're trying to outbid my alpha, bro. They're trying to snipe me at 999.999. Like what the hell? No, but anything like just below psychological level. And if we're going to sub 1,000, you'll know, right? There'll be tons of news and stuff. Like it won't be a good time. So I think you'll have the ability to put that bid on the book in time, hopefully. And then lastly, for Bitcoin, I talked about it in the how to buy the dip video, or levels I'm looking at, but some old stuff from the tweezer bottoms. We'll just get rid of that. The levels that I think everyone is watching using the same rationale would be like 18 to 23, I think we decided. 18 to 21. If I turn on VPVR, whatever this is. So if we turn off the cloud, we say there's some sort of diagonal somewhere. I don't even know. It's all just, everything's sort of busted at this point, but that was the old diagonal. Let's say we want to measure this with fibs. Get a similar zone, 18 to 21. Okay, what is the confluence for that? Well, we've got a level there, a horizontal level. So I don't think that's out of the question. Do I really think we're just going to consolidate here and drip down to 25? No, I don't think we're going to stop there. The other level to look at would be 23, because that's where, again, there was some price activity, some interest at that level. So ideally, what I was saying in the video is like, you put a small percentage of bids at 23, you get hit, great. This assumes we like drop and wick up, right? But you put some percentage at 23, let's say 25% of your stack, then you put the rest of the stack between 18 and 21, and you just feather it out. You say, okay, I'm gonna put a bunch of bids down here and just see what happens, right? But that's totally up to you and how you want to do it. If 25, see, that's the kind of mentality we need. Hi, Dave. That's the kind of mentality we need. If we go to 25, it's over, right? We're going to 15, right? That's how people get super greedy at the bottom. They say, oh, we went to 25. 20 is not going to hold. I'm going to put my bids at 10, right? And then we never get to 10. And then they're like, what the hell, man? I didn't get filled. It's just funny. You always see people get turbo bearish at the bottom, turbo bullish at the top. That's just what happens. But I'm not going to disagree with you. Agioff. Why do people have such terrible names to pronounce? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. All right, last thing we'll look at. Builder. Thank you for all the YouTube comments, by the way, Builder. I read all the YouTube comments, guys, so just don't be afraid to ask something. What is the CME? Is it 1 exclamation point? So Builder brought up the CME futures chart. If we go to the daily, if you want to look at real volume, like actual volume from a real deal exchange that's regulated, the futures is one way to do that. That's also telling you like 19, 20, somewhere in there. But anyway, we turn off VPVR, turn off volume. I think there's actually, there's actually an indicator. CME Gap Finder. Didn't get this one though. Whatever. All right, so what he's talking about is, Bitcoin's 24/7, obviously. So this is more likely to happen on the Bitcoin side of things when the legacy markets are closed for the weekend and we have price activity. You'll see this on regular charts, legacy charts too. But there is a gap, price gap, where there's no activity, right? And the price gap is unfilled. And you can look for other gaps that haven't been filled. I don't see any other gaps currently active. So there's some rationale about, we're going to refill all the gaps. I don't know the exact quantitative breakdown for that sort of mentality, but One of the things I was watching, you can see it right here as well. One of the things I was watching on GBTC, this was an old gap from June 2022 that went unfilled. And on GBTC, there was a mega gap, right? So earlier in the year, when we were talking about GBTC and ETH and charts like this, I was saying, like, look, this is a really high probability level just based on, kind of Dow theory, mean reversion, however you want to think about that, that we could go to if things turn around. We're not even to the 50% retracement yet for GBTC. I think I have, lastly, I think I have some old stuff here. So ETH looks okay. It's out of the bearish pitchfork. The thing about these Grayscale products, they have all these discounts, right? So if you have the ability to reach these products in some way, they're attractive. They're at a discount, right? If we blow out to the downside, these discounts are going to expand most likely. But that's another thing to watch and another thing to play is GBTC and ETH, also GDLC and BitW. I don't have the BitW. I don't have the BitW discount of up right now, but it was like 50 or 60% a few days ago. So anyway, I think that's all I got in me today. I still got to record the alt video. Thanks everybody for popping in. Kalashi, nobody's ever heard of FET BTC but you, buddy. Come on. All right, this will be the last one. Last one. Fetch AI. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, doesn't look horrible. I'll give you that. When I pull up a fresh chart, I usually start with the cloud, some high time frame, weekly. This kind of reminds me of BAT BTC actually back in the day, but it's got some sort of something going on here. I can't imagine alts do better than Bitcoin if we have a sell-off. So automatically, I'm just thinking, yeah, who cares, right? That's me personally. I just don't want to be sitting in alts if the world falls out from under us. But it doesn't look terrible. I'll give you that. The BAT BTC. I bet most people don't even know what BAT is at this point. Honestly, what's a good? Is that even a good chart to watch? Sure, but you kind of had this for years. I guess not years, maybe months. Early on when BAT got released. Now nobody cares about that, but early on it had a similar like ascending triangle, right? Dash, same thing. The thing about alts and patterns like this is they can grind you out for a long time, and you're just thinking, man, this is gonna play out one day. And look at this move. You got your 68% move. You waited 546 days for a 60% move. Dash, by the way, again, nobody cares about this stuff, but I just think it's funny. Dash, kind of the same thing, right? These patterns are real. They typically work out. That's why I like the ETH pattern so much. But look at how long this just grinds you out. Now this admittedly had a better price move, 300% move, 350, whatever it was. But yes, these patterns are real. They will they will take a while. This was 1,000 days, right? 1,000 days to grind. That's why instead of sitting in this thing for 1,000 days, I like it here. I like it here. I like to buy the highs. I like to buy the strength, right? Because at least you have a shot at some sort of move to the upside. So for me, any ascending triangle chart, I'm always going to pay a lot more attention to it at the horizontal than at any other level. Also, obviously, it's worth paying attention to it the closer it gets to the edge, the end of it. And again, with a lot of these chart patterns, they typically break if they're actually bullish when they're 3/4 of the way complete. So, you know what, 1,000 days out of 1,200 potentially. You know, you just eyeball it. Yes, this filled in about 3/4. Like it got there, right? But it took a long time. Buy highs, sell lows. That's right. That's right. All right, Builder, you know, I might do more. I might do more. We'll see. I might just do one every Wednesday or every Thursday. But yeah, I think that's all I got for this one. Thanks again for stopping by. Everybody who's here, who's not here. Has been years. Lekaloo. Buy low and round trip, baby. Classic. All right, I got to record this video for the day, so I'm going to peace out, but look for that in case you want more alt doomer news. I've got it for you lined up, no doubt. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by. And happy